Made Famous TV.
And like people didn't know who I was, but it was like we started off all as friends. Like I'd be that girl in the studio. They'd be like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'd be like, "Nothing." Like I wasn't even like, I was just meeting. Like really, what happened is when I went to college, I went to Georgia State. So I moved to Atlanta from Alpharetta, which is like 30 miles north.
Right.
So I moved to Atlanta, and everybody I met was like, "Oh, I'm a DJ. Oh, I'm a producer. Oh, I work in the music industry." And I'm like, "Damn!" Like everybody works in the music industry, and mind you, I'm still an accountant. Like I still have a 9 to 5, but I'd be at their studios, I'd be kicking it. And like I had an artist named Jihad, and he was like, "You're in school for business management and you have all these like amazing relationships. Put 2 and 2 together. Like try it." So I started working with Boom Man, like as everyone did, like at MMI. And from there I left and just started like with River City to like Rap Star Promo. It's just a bunch of different categories in the industry where I just came and created a company. So I kind of learned everything first and then it just came together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So accounting.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I was like, "Oh, I wish I was a numbers person."
Yeah.
People in finance and accounting make a lot of money.
I mean, I was doing it for like 8 years. I didn't quit accounting. Like I was making money in the industry, but you know, like when you quit that 9 to 5, like you have to be bringing in money to survive. So I quit in 2017. It's only been 3 years. So after that, you know, I was doing very well. Like my artists were doing well. And then, you know, it kind of staggers. And then I got my job at Sync and it just all made sense back then. But I was doing accounting the whole time.
I would have never known.
During events, waking up, I got laid off a couple times. They like caught me in LA when I said I was sick, like because I would post on my Facebook. But that's really where I started. It's crazy. And I was thinking about it yesterday because I was managing Rich the Kid at the time, and I was trying to convince my boss to invest in him. And I was like, and now you look and see how far Rich is. And I was really thinking about messaging my boss, and I don't like him. And I was like, just look up Rich the Kid. I just want you to look and see what we only were asking for like 50,000. I mean, it was a lot back then to help start his career. But he didn't believe in it. And now I'm like, I really got to send him a message.
Right.
You need to check this guy out. Like, and what's crazy is like, he probably knows, like, he's probably his kids or something like brought him his name up. And that's just, I really was thinking that the other day. I'm like, I want to message him on LinkedIn or something like that.
Hey, shoot for it.
I should. You know what? I'm going to do that after this.
Yeah. And that's you send a.
But you know, I just had an interview, and I just want you to look up Rich the Kid, okay?
Yep. I told you, don't miss. Don't miss
funny twice. Story.
But you have a testimony. Just what you've gone through, you know, continuously working. Like I said, I would have never known. So that's a message to all artists. Like, don't just up and quit your job.
Yeah, you can't. Because I was telling people the other day, like there was a time where I was like, do I need to go back to accounting? Like I wasn't bringing in the money that how I wanted to live, right? So it's like, you don't want to you want to be able to live how you want to live. And I couldn't do it. It was like a couple months. And like, I was like literally considering moving to LA. Like maybe I need to get out of Atlanta. Like maybe I've done enough here. And like, I really got that job. Like I want to say like a month later. So it was like, I thank God because I know he did that for me. But yeah, you need security. You can't do this. This is expensive, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's weird because some artists, it can happen like this, but there's usually a bag behind it. You know, like if you don't have like a big investor or something like that, it's a process, and you have to be able to stay down and you have to be able to live and afford it.
Absolutely.
Right.
So what's it like being a woman in this industry?
Yeah, everyone asks me that.
Yeah, because
they're
I
like,
know you talk to a lot of people.
I'm like, you know, I never really had an issue with it because, again, I started off with such good relationships, and I didn't really they didn't look at me like that. But I will say, working with artists, the hardest thing about being a woman is like, if you they say something to you and you respond in any way, you're being emotional. Like no matter what it could be like, it could just be like you can say anything to me, and if I say something back, like, calm down, why are you so emotional? I'm like, I'm not emotional. I'm just like talking back to you. But I think that's like my biggest pet peeve when Sai is like, calm down, like you're being emotional. I'm like, I'm not even being emotional. Like, and it's like through text, like how am I crying? Like, I don't know. But I think that's the only thing. And
Oh, you're good.
Sorry, I had a call.
Oh no, it's all good.
I don't even know who that was. And he was like, "You're being emotional." I'm like, "No, I'm not." Like, that's just my biggest pet peeve. But other than that, I mean, of course, how everyone thinks that it's like a men's industry, you know, like a lot of the men are the CEOs and like that a woman can't do that, but they're more and more it's happening. So I guess that as well, but it's all that emotion thing for me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So compare, do you throw events in Los Angeles as well, or is your main?
I do, yeah. So when I moved out there, it's so crazy because I moved out there August 22nd last year, and I threw an event that night. And it was my first one in LA. And I was living in a hotel for like a week because I didn't move in until like September 1st. And it's my year. Yeah, it's my year I've been in LA today. But yeah, I threw an event that night and it was awesome. Like, it was such a good turnout because it's like all the people that you know in LA came out. It was another showcase. I had a lot of like known upcoming artists in LA on it. And then I found this venue. It's called Apartment 503. So in Atlanta, it's more of like an inside venue, kind of dark. Everyone's smoking, whatever vibes. I mean, LA too, they're smoking, but this was outdoors and it was like lights hanging and very like LA-ish. But I love it. Like, it sucks I can't throw them now because of COVID. Everything shut down. Yeah. So my last LA event was in February. So I'm hoping to be able to squeeze one in by the end of the year. But if not, hope top of next year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. How has this current pandemic affected the way that you move about in this industry? Because one of your main things is events.
Right. I know. I mean, LA, what sucked about LA is like, it's a new city, right? So I'm thinking I'm going to move out there and like go network and meet all these people, hit all the events. And then no, Diana, sit in your room, like sit in your apartment. So that was the worst part. The event, that was cool because I was just starting it and I wasn't really able to like really, because, you know, it takes a while to get your event out, especially in a new city, which it was working, but it didn't give me the opportunity to really build it. Right. So, I mean, I can go back to the drawing board and make it stronger when it happens. But for me, it was like, I don't know as many people out here that I would have been able to meet, like even not my events, but someone else's event, going to these listening parties and mixtape release parties and things like that. That was the biggest thing for me. But like overall business has been even busier because like music doesn't stop, which is crazy. Yeah. The event, all that stopped. But like, thank God I had my job at Sync because it's like client after client, they want to drop music. So I did get busier.
Okay, so compare I know that you said like there's a different ambiance in Los Angeles than Atlanta, but as far as like the artists, like compare the two music scenes.
Very West Coast, you know, that sound like and I love it. But what was cool about my events, I called it bringing Atlanta to LA. So I would have like 4 LA artists and 4 Atlanta artists. And they would fly out and they would come perform, or they would be like OG Maco performed at one of my shows out in LA, but like an Atlanta artist that moved to LA. So it's kind of a mixture of both because I still want to bring that whole Atlanta vibe to LA because LA loves Atlanta. Like all of them want to come to Atlanta and everybody in Atlanta want to go to LA. And it's so crazy to me. I'm like, they're like, you're from Atlanta? That's awesome. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get it out here though. But it's crazy because they all want to go out there. So like, even when they're out here, they'll be like, Diana, what do I do? God, sorry.
Busy woman, y'all. She's a busy woman.
I'm like, that lets you know. Calling me?
She's the one to talk to. Busy like, woman.
Do not disturb. But yeah, I mean, that's why I try to do the mixture of it, but their music is completely different, but it's a vibe. Like it's very like, cause you hear it on the radio, but then like you meet the artists out there and they all have a very like similar sound. But I really I'm starting to like really become a fan of it. Like even my event I threw last Thursday, I just put the recap out yesterday. I put a West Coast artist as the song just to kind of like mix it up. Because that's one of the songs I like right now, but it's crazy because it would have usually been like one of my artists or an Atlanta song, but really just keeping the mixture going.
Okay, so say I'm an artist. I live in Denver, Colorado.
Right.
I'm deciding whether I'm going to move to LA or Atlanta. I'm a hip hop artist.
Right.
Where would you tell me to go? If either. LA.
Atlanta for sure.
Atlanta.
Because how I always look at it is Atlanta needs to be the place where you start. That's where you make your relationships. It's where you kind of build. And once you get to that point where like you're known and you're ready to kind of take it to the next step, I would go to LA. Because LA has like the labels and the media out there, but Atlanta